Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode, everybody. Another episode of Evil Live. Yes, tonight I'm back. Got a very, very, very special guest in the building tonight. We got the props enthusiast. We got the mortician in the building. We got the film critic, the horror movie lover, just the cosplay, just a laundry list of things, just a laundry list of things. We got Vanta, Vanta Creates in the building tonight. How you feeling, Vanta?
Hey guys, I'm great. Doing great, feeling great. I appreciate that. The laundry list. I like to say a Jane of all trades.
yes, I like that. A Jane of all trades. Yes. Well, thank you, again for coming on the show and just talking about the genre that we love, horror, it's our favorite genre out there, So I guess we could get started into it. What would you say is your horror origin story? How did you get into the genre?
Horror origin story. Okay, so that's so funny. My mother is afraid of everything horror related. Dementors scare her.
Ooh, doesn't scare me.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they're creepy, but that's her level. Like Dementors is too much. So I said to myself, I'm like, horror's kind of interesting. When I was younger, I'm like, oh, but this is cool. Like the cool kids like horror movies, so I want to be like the cool kids. Yes. So my parents went on vacation and they left me in the house for the weekend. I think I was like 16, 15 years old. And I said to myself, all right, this is how it starts. I'm going to watch a scary movie by myself at 2 a.m. in the morning. I don't even remember what the movie was. I think it was like Gothica or something with Halle Berry, which isn't really a scary movie, but to me at that time it was.
Yeah.
So, like the lights are completely off. It's 2 a.m. I'm by myself. I'm like, all right, I'm going to sit here and I watch it. I just glued myself to the TV so I wouldn't be scared. And now that was it. And I'm like, oh, this isn't bad. Okay, I could do scary movies.
So did you set your alarm? Did you set your alarm for these movies or
no? I think I just stayed up. I think I took a nap. I was sleeping on the couch and just flipping through the channels. And I'm like, let me watch a scary movie to work up my courage. And then I watched it. And I'm like, oh, this isn't scary. I don't think I'm afraid of things really.
See, those were the days, just having the blankets, having people over, the blankets in the living room on the couch, watching the horror movies, you're even the bad horror movies, even the Halloweens that nobody likes, but you're like, yo, we're watching a scary movie at night.
Final Destination for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Part two.
Part two's the best, isn't it? Yeah. I just watched all of them last week. It's bizarre enough. But that's also a movie series that I watched when I was younger with my friend. Yeah. And we would stay up and we're like, okay, we got to watch it. And we went to the theater and watched it. We were really we're diehard fans. And she's like, I will never go in a tanning bed. I mean, we're Black, so we are not doing that. But I'm never going to go in a tanning bed. I'm never getting LASIK. I got LASIK. It's not that bad, guys. I promise. There's so many things from that. I'm like, oh, this car accident scene was crazy. It really, a lot of things. I'm like, damn, this is a Final Destination moment, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. It's given us so many paranoias. I think the series as a whole has given us, so many paranoias, especially driving behind trucks.
Especially driving behind trucks, or even the ones with the logs.
Yes.
I side-eye them. I'll be, what you doing?
Oh, no, I used to, back when I was a passenger, I used to just, watch and be like, oh, reminds me of Final Destination. Now that I'm behind the wheel.
Don't say that.
I got a speed pass.
Yeah, you can't say that out loud. Yeah, I got think it, but once you say it, just know whatever happens next was out of your control.
Exactly. But that was good. That was good. Iceman Hickey, what's up? Thank you for stopping by. Oh my gosh, Banta, I love you.
Thanks.
Yes, yes. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for stopping by. Now, you are into props. How did you get into props heavy?
um, that's so interesting. I've always liked making things. I've
Mm-hmm.
always been an artist for as long as I can remember. My dad always bought me crayons and markers and just art supplies. So I've always been an artist.
Yeah.
Didn't really get into like sculpting or anything in school. It was mainly painting and drawing. But I saw cosplayers, like the more I got into cosplaying, the more I saw cosplayers making these huge, big props. I'm like, this is so cool. I love this. I want to do this. Because yeah, sewing's great. I like sewing. Um,
Yeah.
but I'm better at making a prop, like physical 3D shapes. I'm like, oh, I can do this. I know how to, I just can
Yes.
visualize it a little bit better. Yeah.
Yes, yes. I mean, it's the fun of it all, and the creativity. Like when I'm, especially like if I go to somewhere like BlurCon and you're just seeing all the different people in the cosplays and just what they're able to come up with. I'm just like, yo, this is wild. Like we didn't grow up with this on this level,
Right.
you know.
Right.
Did not grow up with this. We got a not a real horror fan. I love your hair, Vanta.
Thank you.
Yes, yes. In the building. Thank you for stopping by. You know, now my next question, for you would be, how did you get into like, being like a film critic? How did you get into critiquing, films, or just being like, what? I love soaking up films. I love giving my opinion, breaking down certain things. Like, how did you get into that?
It's interesting. So I have always been very opinionated and I love movies. I didn't realize how much I enjoy and really love going to the movies, watching TV until pretty much the pandemic. And I just watch so much stuff. Like similar to my music taste, like I really watch everything, like from telenovelas to periodical dramas. Shout out to the Bridgerton fam. Like I really watch everything. And the more I watch stuff, the more I'm like, oh, I like this costume and I like the story in this, and that prop
Yes.
is great. Or that person's wig is terrible. Somebody hire me at HBO to fix their wigs. I'm gonna keep selling my point until they hire me. But I just started watching more movies and like forming my own opinions and writing stuff down. And then some friends of mine would say like, oh, we're going to this movie screening, do you want to come with us? I'm like, yeah, this would be an awesome opportunity. I love film. And I did more of that, and it just kind of snowballed and spiraled. And i I'm loving it. I have been so blessed. Like last night I went to see the Percy Jackson screening. Percy Jackson is my favorite series of all time. I had to convince myself not to get a trident tattoo. I still may do it. But I absolutely loved it. And, going to the premiere last night was really like a full circle moment, especially as a Black creative. The series
Yes.
really talks about diversity, talks about being different, kids with dyslexia, ADHD, both over here. But, it really spoke to me as a kid. So being there meant a lot. So yeah, I just love film, and I really want to write a screenplay.
Yes.
Like I really, really want to write a screenplay. So I'm going to be trying to do some screenwriting classes. Jordan Peele is definitely a big inspiration. Love Jordan Peele, love Twilight Zone. Just there's so many films that I've seen. I'm like, damn, this is so good. Their vision is crazy. Can I do this? You think I could do this? Maybe I could do it. So I guess that's a bit of my inspiration also behind being a movie critic.
Yes, yes, I love it. It's all the things, all the different things,
It's like coming
that
together,
yes, it's all of it that makes, the fan, and just sparks that creativity, in your brain.
Yeah.
So we got a struggle reviews TV, first time here, catching alive. My first horror movie at 6 was
Awesome.
Candyman and Tales from the Hood. I came out the gate
Keep
swinging.
swinging.
Yes,
Very
struggle
cool.
reviews.
Very,
you
very
for
cool.
stopping by. Thank you for stopping by. Awesome picks. Not a real horror fan. Bridgerton fan in the house. Lord Danbury was absolutely repulsive.
So I just noticed their icon is Vince McMahon with the
Yeah,
do-rag.
do rag Vince. Yeah, do rag Vince.
That's hilarious. That's so funny. Good job. Kudos to you.
We also got a struggle. What is this?
Struggle
Let's get the,
reviews.
yeah, struggle reviews. Yes, yes. And what did I just watch recommended the channel to me? Yes, yes.
Yay!
Got Lady
Thank you.
Shasha. Thank you, Shasha. Showing some love. Showing some love. And then caveman movies and more. Hey there, everyone. Please slay the like button. Yes. Yes,
Slay.
slay. Thank you. Thank you for showing love. Showing love.
All the love, all the
So
love.
yes, yes. I can feel it. I can feel it.
We feel we
It's a good night. It's a good night.
yeah.
Now, my next question would be, the mortician. How did you how did you get into that line of business? Because I know you told me a little bit previously, but how did you get into that line of business?
It's funny. I think every question you've asked, I've like started laughing. Okay, so my dad is a mortician. So it's a family business. My dad I think he said he was 16 and he attended a funeral and was like, that's it. I want to be a funeral director. And like took off, has been doing it ever since. I grew up in Canarsie. So I also live next to Canarsie Cemetery, which was not planned. My parents actually are probably the happiest, most bubbly people you'd ever meet. So it's very funny because I'm a fairly jovial person, and then we deal with death every day. So it's a very interesting vibe. But yeah, he was a mortician. He is a mortician, and I said, okay, I want to help the family business, so I'm going to go to school for it. So I went to undergrad. My bachelor's is in forensic science. I am a scientist. I do love science, especially science fiction. Big science fiction fan. Isaac Asimov, mwah, yeah, love all of his stuff. And I said, okay, let me go to the family business. I went to mortuary school. I then taught in mortuary school. I taught pathology for about 6 months, which was cool. Got my feet wet, helped me figure out, do I want to be a teacher? Do I not want to be a teacher? Studied for my boards and worked with my dad. And I have seen it all. Also, I should have mentioned, for my internship, I interned with the medical examiner in Manhattan. So I've seen death in almost every aspect. I have seen it before they go to the funeral home and now after at the funeral home. And also I've, been at crematories and stuff like that as well. So I worked for my dad for 2 years. It's not that I don't like the business. It's my heart's not in it. I really do want to be a creative. And I do think it's interesting. Embalming for sure is like where I want to be. I don't want to be in the front section, going to funerals, talking to people, making arrangements. It gets difficult at times because you're dealing with so much grief and people are at the worst time of their lives. So it can be kind of draining at the end of the day. But, seeing my dad do it, it's completely different. Like that's truly his calling. He's so good with families. He takes a lot of care. I've seen families come in, with terrible cases, like their baby died, and he'll go and like pick out like the baby booties and the clothes and like brush their hair extra nice. Like he truly has an artistry for the industry. And I love seeing him do it. I just couldn't do it myself. But there are like some really cool stories and cool things that I've seen and done and had to deal with. I slept at the crematory once.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've slept at the crematory. I have seen them open up. The retort is the actual receptacle where you push the body into. And I've seen them open the retort, and like I've seen the flames and the skull and everything, like everything burning. Most metal thing I've seen in my life. I was literally like, oh, this is awesome. Which,
Wow.
It sounds crazy, but still it's so awesome. When I worked for the medical examiner, somebody came in and they were decomposed. So they were blue and green. Their skin was literally blue and green. And they had crabs on them, like crabs. Like it was on the table and we had to swat it and kill it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I've seen it all. I've truly seen it all. And I've also had to go out on house calls. So most people see me on the internet and jokingly are like, "Oh, you seem so tall." But in person, I'm 5'4". I'm actually very small. So I have gone on house removals where the person I am picking up is 300 and something pounds. So
Wow.
I've had to learn to become very strong. I don't go to the gym anymore, but I am, she's got some guns under here, So yeah, I've had to do a lot of different things. Some people in the chat are asking about 6 feet under.
6 feet under.
So the joke is most female directors don't watch 6 feet under because it's not accurate. Like a lot of this, yeah, a lot of the stuff that goes on, I'm like, no, no. And also, we don't live at our funeral home. I don't.
Gotcha.
Yeah, high key, I judge people who do because that means you don't separate work from play, and like that's weird. And also, it smells really bad. Why would you? Your funeral home's in your basement and upstairs, like the smell's gonna walk. No, I'm good.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask you. I'm like, did it take like some getting used to the smell, or do you wear like nose plugs and
no. I have honestly, I've been around the funeral home for as long as I can remember. So there was no like getting used to it.
Gotcha.
It was just kind of like, okay, that person is dead. Okay, that person, their, thoracic cavity is open. Okay, that person is a long bone donor. Like I've just kind of seen everything. So there was no like, oh, this is scary. Smells do get me a little a little messed up. I am used to it, but you're never gonna be used to the smell of a decomposed body. Like it's just bad. It's terrible. It's terrible. That maggots. I think maggots is like the thing I'm the most disgusted by because like they're moving and it's just gross. So gross.
Yes. Yeah, maggots. I mean, it's just something disturbing about maggots. I think the first horror films, they started showing like stuff decompose, and then I think maggots were involved. So maggots are like, they're just never a sight to see, But you had mentioned that you were watching. Well, people don't really watch. The morticians don't really watch like 6 feet under, which was something else I wanted to ask you because I'll watch a movie, even like anything from like Men in Black to, like what is that? The Taken, not the Taken of Deborah Logan, the Autopsy of Jane Doe. Of Jane Doe. And or just anything that involves an autopsy, and you're just the mortician is putting their headphones on, and they're just jamming out, and they're just
with the troll car, just I'm like, that's first of all very graphic, a little weird, and like, yeah, we get in there, but whoa, calm down. No, we don't wear headphones because that's dangerous. Because somebody could be calling you and asking you something, and then you don't hear them. We will put we'll have a boombox and play music.
Okay.
Depending, some of the guys I've worked with, it's like heavy metal or like heavy hip hop rap or like R&B. Like, well, I mean, I work with Black people, so it's going to be a wide range of music. I'm trying to think other interesting things that we've done in the back. Clothing, I think, is such an interesting moment because we ask families, bring us your clothing. Bring us your loved ones' clothing and what you want them to wear. So some people will bring a suit, a tie. Some people will bring Tim's, Gucci, like full fit. And then some people bring tiger striped underwear. not boxers, a thong. Like I've seen like the craziest things. Or what, like this hoochie mama dress for grandma. I'm like, she's 94. Why are we putting grandma in this? What's going on? And it's crazy because my dad will look at me. He's like, what is this? And I'm like, listen, that's what they brought. Don't ask me. but it's interesting seeing my dad's reaction to a lot of things. So now with makeup and wigs and hair, he's old school. He doesn't like
Yeah,
makeup. He does like the light stuff, maybe light foundation powder. Very, very old school. I, on the other hand, will like beat face, like lace front, laid, all that stuff. My mom would come in and do cornrows for him if he really needed it. He's really like, he's the silk press god. That's my nickname for him.
gotcha.
He could
Silk press guy.
finesse a silk press like nobody's business. He used to do my hair for me. That's how good he is.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, my mom not as much, but he's the silk press god. But families will bring in a lace front, and he's like holding it by the lace, and he's like, I don't know where this goes. I'm like, I'm like, cut the lace, spray the got to be, and then lay it down, and then like, and he's like, you're saying a foreign language. Can you come and fix this? So I'll go and like, I'll do it. And I'm like, you got to lay the baby hairs, and you got to like you could use a spoolie brush. And my mom in the back is like, don't forget the toothbrush. Like she's giving advice. So it was really like a family affair.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I would love to see a movie about that, actually, like just a family of, morticians. And it's like a comedy with a tinge, of comedy, comedic. Because I'm sure you guys have your laughs, sometimes.
Yeah. The amount of things the amount of crazy things that's happened to me at the funeral home, you would never believe. I've been hit on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
At the funeral.
I've been hit on at the funeral. I've been hit on at the gravesite. I've been hit on at the crematory. I've been hit on at the repast. I'm like, I'm trying to do my job.
not at the crematory.
I wish I was joking. And usually, like, I'm in a suit. I don't often wear dresses. I'm in pants because I have to move around and do so much. And like, I'm like, nothing's really showing. I'm working, so I'm fairly modest. And guys just be everywhere.
oh yeah. It's the death mood. I guess it's a mood.
I guess they're like, I'm sad. I need comforting. I'm like,
Yeah. we got not a real horror fan. Vanta, was there a movie that you've seen where they were accurate as far as like the mortician lifestyle?
I can't think of one, to be honest. Yeah, I can't really think of one. And that is the joke with my mom, especially with like CSI, NCIS, all those shows too. Because of my forensics background, I'm like, they're not wearing gloves. Like you're ruining the wrong forceps. Where's your booties? I'm like critiquing every single thing, and she's like, you're ruining the show. I can't watch this with you. I'm like, sorry.
So how did you feel about Dexter?
I haven't watched it.
Oh, yeah. You have not watched Dexter? Wow.
I have not. I'm like, I'm afraid that I'm going to not like it, or I don't know. Because when it was really big, everyone was telling me about it. I'm like, I don't know. I may watch it now because like I've got free time now, so I'm maybe that's what I'll start. I'll binge Dexter in the next 3 days.
Yeah, I mean, it has some really good seasons to it, but I was just wondering, like, as with your background, how much you feel about this forensic investigator who's also a serial killer,
I think I started it in the pandemic, and I think I got to episode 3. I don't know. I remember there was an episode where it was like they were outside and there was like tarp and there was a body, and like I think someone was shot, but there wasn't any blood, and I'm like, that's wrong. So certain scenes I'm like, okay, but I will definitely watch all of it and then give you my honest critiques.
Oh yes. Can't wait. We got Michael Anthony in the building. Thank you for stopping by, Mike. I hope they'll bring pom shorts for the body. Yeah, hoochie daddy shorts, for the
I did I had a casket. I won't say where it came from, which country. But the casket was car wrapped. Yeah.
Car, like the wrapping that you would put around a car?
They took bottles, like they photoshopped some bottles and the person's face with the wings and the stereotypical funeral photo. And they put their face and then the bottles like lined up. And then they made it into a car wrap and then wrapped the casket. So the casket has like liquor all over it and the person's face. And it was international. So it came to the funeral home and we're all like, what is this? I've never seen this before. I've never seen it before. I was just like, oh, that's interesting. Okay, that's different. And there's been times where I've gone into the funeral home late at night to go to the bathroom or something, or I used to park my car by the funeral home and it was midway between Manhattan and my home. So it was easy to just park there, go to the city, and then come back. So one night, my best friend, Dennis, when you see the stream, I know you're going to laugh about this. I said to my best friend, Dennis, I said, okay, let's go into the funeral home. I have to pee really bad. Stay outside. I'm going to go inside, turn the lights on, and then you follow me. I don't remember who's out right now. I don't want you to be scared. So stay outside. I told him to stay outside. So I open up the door. I'm walking and I go and turn on the light. Dennis happened to be behind me, and it was a Saturday, like early Saturday night. So I think we were coming from a party like really early Saturday, like 2 a.m. So most funerals and services go out Saturday, go to the crematory cemeteries on Saturday. So there was like 20 people in caskets ready to go out for the funeral the next day. So I turn on the light and he's like, just stunned. And I'm like, Dennis, that's why I told you to stay outside. And I felt so guilty. He was like, I'm so glad that I know who you are. And I was sort of prepared because I almost peed myself. I'm like, I told you to stay. I told you to stay outside for a reason. So there's lots of moments like that where I'm like telling people like, oh, I'm a mortician. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, you want to go in the funeral home? And they're like, yeah, sure. And then, you open the door and they see people and they're like, whoa, you're not kidding. I'm like, no, I'm not kidding. No. Instead of pimp my ride, you had pimp my casket. That's a really hilarious. Yeah. That's hilarious.
Pimp my casket. Yeah, that needs to be a reality TV show. We need Pimp My Casket.
Oh God, no! Please, God, no! I'm begging. Not a thong for a dead body. You'd be surprised. I've had lingerie, thongs, teddies, like, and it's never the people you expect it. It's always like grandma. That's funny. Not a real horror fan. You're hilarious. Yeah, it's never the people you think would be wearing the thong.
Yes, yeah. But that's, you know what, different strokes for different folks. That's what, makes the world go round, and if that makes the family more comfortable at the end,
whatever makes them happy, right?
The thong going wrong. We got King Nikki. Thanks for stopping by. So they hitting on you because I heard they want the coal.
Y'all got jokes. Jokes.
Let's see. Caveman says, have you ever been hit on by the widower?
No, but I did have a widow. This woman was so nice. She was dealing with some family disputes, and it was family drama, next of kin, blah blah blah, that kind of stuff. And so she was really adamant. She was like, I don't want certain people to be here. I really only wanted certain people here. So she had a guest list. Yeah. She was posted up at the door like, are you on this list? No, you can't go. Bye. And people were coming up to me like, why are you letting this happen? I'm like, she's in charge. What she says goes. And they had to leave. So she came up to me and she's like, and I have a hair clip because I wanted you to see how big. She had a blunt like this big, like a fat blunt. She's like, you want to smoke this later? I'm like, no, ma'am. Thank you. But no, really appreciate that you asking me this. She's like, no, you're really cool. I just wanted to thank you. I'm like, thank you, but no. And then the next day she came with like, I'm not like, I have my fire iron. Like it was a blunt like this thick. And she's like, do you want to smoke this one with me? I'm like, no. Where are you getting
It's given. I've got some candy, little girl. You know,
But it wasn't even like that. It was just so funny because I'm like, where are you getting these ginormous blunts?
yeah, exactly. Like what? How much are you paying? You know, because to roll up that much in
that
a blunt.
that much. She's like, okay, I'm gonna smoke it at the crematory. Like, pour one up for him. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
okay, do what makes you happy. But she was so sweet, so nice. Like, I love families who are really nice, very helpful, very cool, very down
Yeah.
to earth. And then you get some families who they are grieving, so I understand. But then some of them are like kind of nasty and like they talk down to you. And I look very young, so they looked at me like, you're just a kid. What are you doing here? Or they'll come in and they'll ask for my dad. He's like away on business. I'm like, okay, well, I'm in charge. And they're like, no, I don't want to talk to you. I want to talk to him. So I'll be like, okay. So I'll put him on the phone. He'll talk to them and he'll be like, you need to listen to her because she's in charge. And they're like, oh, okay. So I'm like, oh, wow. I tried to tell you.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, well, it's just I think it's just a general thing, like especially when you look young,
Yeah.
and there people have issues with taking, orders or, direction from people,
Yeah.
who are younger than them or who they perceive as younger than them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
For sure. For sure.
yeah. They definitely need to get over it though. Definitely need to get over it.
They'll get over it.
Now, my next question for you would be, do you have a favorite subgenre?
Ooh. Sci-fi.
Sci-fi.
Yeah.
Well, you are a scientist.
Yeah.
You're my first scientist, that I'm
Yay!
interviewing. So hooray for that science.
Yay! Yeah, sci-fi.
Yes.
Before we were on stream, we were talking about The Last of Us. That is definitely up there with one of my favorite series, because I went in completely blind. I didn't know anything about the games. I've just heard like bits and pieces, but I didn't really get involved in the games, and I didn't know what was going to happen. So I was sitting watching the first episode with a friend of mine. He's played the games. He knows what's going on. And the first 30 minutes happens and I'm like, whoa, what is going on? And like the plane scene happens. I'm like, what is happening? So then like as the story progresses and they're talking about the cordyceps and that scene with the scientists where they ask her like, what do you do if it's going to infiltrate the human body? And she's like, bomb, just bomb it. That scene really like clicked for me, because I'm like, yeah, that's, as a scientist, that would be my advice. That if you realize that this thing is coming and it's coming, attacking the body aggressively, it's controlling the body, you see the after effects, there is no cure. Yeah, I'm gonna say, you know what, take us out. just take us out. So The Last of Us definitely is up there. I think I liked it also so much because it's real. Cordyceps are real.
Yes.
They are an actual fungus. I think out of all the microbes, fungi, I should say, sorry, are definitely up there with my favorite, which is a very scientist thing to say. Fungus are my favorite, but they're so cool because there's, you've got mushrooms, and then you've got cordyceps, and you've got all these different things in between, and just seeing them being saprocytic organisms that like feed on dead matter, and just how they evolve and what they do is just so cool to see. I'm like, wow. Even mushrooms, like mushrooms are such a small section of fungi, but you've got mushrooms that are radioactive, that glow, they can be poisonous, they can be hemicidinal. They're just so cool. I love fungus.
Yes.
Yeah, we love fungus. But no, the cordyceps definitely had me tripping, because when they mentioned it in the series, I'm like, oh, that's too close to home, because cordyceps, they described in the series, feed on dead matter as most fungus, but they have infiltrated ants before and have controlled ants. And so just knowing that and reading the articles on that, I'm just like sitting, I'm like, okay, so that it's happened to ants. How soon is it going to happen to humans? What do we need to do? What's going to be next? Is it going to inhabit fish and then poison our food? Like or could it inhabit yeast? So I'm like going through all these scenarios in my head while watching the series. But that's just how my brain works as a scientist. I'm like, oh yeah, okay. And that's why I like science fiction because it makes me sit and like try to apply the knowledge that I have and say like, can this actually happen? Well, when will this happen? Like iRobot, we are
Oh,
this close,
oh,
close to iRobot.
oh,
No, AI is doing way too much. We are so
too
close.
too
Too
much.
much.
I feel like I'm gonna be Will Smith. Like, I don't trust these robots. I don't trust them at
I
all.
do not trust these robots. I don't. I don't. I'm just, I'm just waiting. I don't know what's going to happen first. The aliens, the robot overlords, or the fungus. Something's going to take us out.
Listen, as long as it's not the people,
Yeah.
give me anything else
Yeah. In
but the
fact,
people.
I'm putting my, I said it right now. I'm putting my money on the aliens. I hope they come and take us.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. But I've always had a dream where it's like, the aliens come down and they're like, "Hey, black people, let's go, let's
Yeah.
go,
Right.
let's
just,
go." Yeah,
just us.
just us.
Just go.
Everybody else is cool. We'll come
But
back for y'all later. We'll tell you how it was.
we'll come
We
back
go.
for you later is great. That's funny. That's funny.
Yes, yes. We'll come back. We'll come back for you later. But Michael Anthony says I have been opening for my zombie apocalypse team. We'll be needing your expertise.
Awesome.
So,
I'm ready. Like I said, I'm kind of strong. Like
yes.
I'm a little strong. I do have first aid training. I've got a medical kit at all times. My uncle's a retired corrections officer, and he has like a bunker more or less for the zombie
Oh
apocalypse.
wow.
Yeah, he's a hoarder, so he's yeah, but he stays
But that
ready.
works. That
Yeah,
works in a bunker situation. Like the
yeah,
horde, he's got a bunch of peaches and preservatives in the
yeah.
back. Like,
He's got the lanterns with the little light thing. Yeah, he's ready.
Mhm.
He stayed
Oh
ready.
yeah. Now, what type of zombies do you think you could survive? Like, are we talking fast zombies, slow zombies, or like the zombies that we see in like Korea when they have the Korean horror films, where they just you know.
Not beating those. Definitely not beating those. Train to Busan is my favorite zombie movie. I think I watch it once a year. And I'm not beating those. I could have a bat. I could put the lights down and not make noise and all that stuff, but they're fast. They're fast. I think I could take out a few slow zombies. And I'm a runner. I'm a good athlete, so I
Yes.
eat my Wheaties. I think I may have a chance. I could take out 10 zombies, I think. Zombie count is 10.
Yes, yes. I like that. I like that. See, I like slow zombies because I feel like I can maneuver,
Yeah.
I can still go, I can go on my Twinkie run or my Ritz cracker run and then just be like, "Oh, excuse me. Excuse me."
Twinkie run.
Yeah.
Like, oh, whoa, hey, do it too much. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Gotta do what you gotta do, especially
Got
in the apocalypse.
Yep. Yeah.
We got King Nikki, I could only survive the original slow dumb zombies that were saying brains. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And as a scientist, like how did you feel about Return of the Living Dead? Have you seen,
I don't think I've seen it.
oh, you haven't seen that one?
I haven't seen it. I'm gonna need a list of like the things I should watch as a scientist so I can highly critique and be like, this is accurate, this is accurate. Yeah.
Yes, I feel like that's a whole series of content for you. Just
Okay.
like
Perfect.
just Vanta's thoughts on these science and horror. What
Science
was
and
real and what
horror.
was BS. This
Yeah.
was BS.
This was good. This is BS. I do
Yeah.
I like kaiju movies too. Yeah. I really want to see, I gotta see the new Godzilla movie. I think that's gonna be Monday.
It was really good. Really
Good.
But especially for the budget, I'm like, oh, y'all, and then to see the what is it, Kong versus Godzilla trailer, the new one. And I'm like, y'all had all this money, and I know it ain't gonna be as good as this one.
Yikes! The last Godzilla movie I really liked, actually.
The Godzilla versus King Kong.
Was it Godzilla versus King Kong? No, is that the one with Rodan in it? Rodan, Ghidorah, when Ghidorah comes out, and Millie Bobby Brown's in it. This one came out a few years ago. Millie Bobby Brown, I think.
The King of Monsters.
King of Monsters, yeah.
Yeah, that one was good. That one was good.
I like that one. That was good. Godzilla
Yeah.
looked pretty dope. A lot of the scenes were beautiful with Mothra coming out of the cocoon and everything. Dope
Yeah.
scenes, very cool.
Yeah.
I love Godzilla, but I'm a little bit Team Ghidorah.
Okay.
Just a badass. I mean, you've got 3 heads and wings. You're taking over the world.
Exactly.
You're unstoppable. I think Rodan's a little bitch.
Mm,
I think he's a little
that's
bitch.
fair. That's
Yeah,
fair.
he
That's
was
fair.
very simpy in the last movie. Wasn't a fan.
So, what did you think of Pacific Rim? You know the.
I love Pacific Rim. I think I'm gonna rewatch it this weekend too. Like somebody had asked me the other day, they're like, "How did you feel about Pacific Rim?" I'm like, "I thought it was awesome. It was just so cool at the kaiju battle." And I was like, "This is awesome. I love this." The second one flopped, but
Yeah.
I thought it was
Hard.
cool. I thought the concept of it was dope. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, the whole drifting, you got to sync up with
Yeah,
somebody like that. That concept is dope. You know, that
yeah,
concept is dope to me.
yeah. It was good. You know, Darling in the Franxx. The anime is pretty much Pacific Rim, and that was a little fan servicey, but
Yeah.
and like fan service, the seriousness of it, but still interesting.
Oh yes. Oh yes. We got chat with Yo. The most I'd be able to take are the zombies and the crazies,
Crazies.
but even they were still a little fast. Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree. The
yeah.
crazies was a crazy movie. You know, that title
The
was accurate.
title is accurate.
Yes, yes. We got a Polo, premiere. Is it better than Shin? You know what? I haven't seen Shin. I haven't seen
Chin.
Shin yet.
Okay.
I heard it's a Godzilla movie. I think
Ooh.
I've heard it's good though. It was like one of the good ones, that came out recently.
Uh-huh.
So
Uh-huh.
yeah, they definitely got a lot over there. They definitely got a lot over there.
I love it.
Now, do you have a favorite decade of horror? If any, or one that stands out to you?
That is a hard ask. I'm I'm enjoying horror as it is right now. I think I can appreciate it more now as an adult because
Yeah.
there's so many different nuances, and I think horror is evolving. It's not just monsters anymore. It's what is horror to you, what freaks you out. So before I liked like the classic stuff like Hollywood horror, Orlando Studios type,
Yes.
like the Creature from the Deep and Dracula and the Wolfman, like that stuff, the Mummy, Invisible Man, like all that stuff. I'm like more into because that's what I kind of like grew up watching. Also bits. I don't know if you consider Twilight Zone horror, but would stay
I
up
do.
late, sneak and watch the Twilight Zone a little bit. But horror now, I think, is expanded to what freaks you out, what makes you scared, and I'm
Yes.
enjoying that a bit more because it's things that make your skin crawl. There's scenes where I'm watching it and I'm not really afraid of most body horror or gore or jump scares don't really get me, but there are certain things like flies. The buzzing sound of flies really bothers me, or even certain like body dysmorphia, like skin moving, certain things like that really get to me. So I think we're now targeting niche horror or niche fears, and that's what I'm enjoying a lot. One of my favorite horror movies is Nope. Uh,
Yes.
I just the scene with the blood on the house.
Oh, that's my favorite scene. I'm glad
Yeah,
you brought that one up.
yeah.
That's my favorite scene.
I see blood all the time. That made me super uncomfortable. I was just sitting there like because I think I'm in my head. I'm like, that smells terrible. You have to clean all of that up. It's just pouring. Like you have no idea what is going on. It was just such a and thinking like, where is that blood coming from? Whose blood
Yes.
is it? It's all of that just like circling in your head. And I'm like, ugh, that's gross. Like that makes me so uncomfortable. So yeah, I'm enjoying this era of it. Also Get Out. Sorry, not Get Out. Us
Yes. Yes.
plays a special part to me. My mom has the Hands Across America t-shirt. Yeah. She
Wow.
was like, "Oh, My mom's from Barbados, so she's like, oh, like we saw this televised, and we did it too in Barbados, and they were giving out T-shirts, and we like all grouped together and held hands. And when I described the movie to her, I told her about it. So she's saying this to me. I'm on the train, and I'm like, is my mother tethered? Like, what's I was really like, oh, what does this mean? And that was one of the movies that I was looking under the bed. I'm like, I don't know. Are there going to be rabbits with red eyes coming after me? Like, I'm on the New York City train platform. Like, where's this tethered people? Where are they coming out from? So I think we're picking and choosing some really niche horror elements, and they're specific to individuals. And I love that we're playing with that.
Yeah. It's definitely dope. I'm glad that you brought up Nope, because it was just horror mixed with science fiction.
The slide,
Kiki
Palmer?
Yeah.
Pressure.
Yeah.
So good.
It was hard.
And even Daniel Kaluuya's his delivery. His poker face is great. And he sees Jean Jacket coming by, and he's just straight. He's like, not looking. I'm like, that's every Black person. Yep. That is exactly what I would be doing. I'm not looking. I'm not paying attention. Just like New York City people on the train, when people are acting up, you don't make eye contact, because the second you do, it's a problem.
Oh yeah. You already know. You like, what, ain't no sense in me getting into back and forth with this person. Let me just not look. Let me just not look.
Not look.
Let me see. We got Michael. He says, do you like cosmic horror? Yes, great question, Michael.
Can you explain a little bit more? So let me see if I understand. I don't think I quite get the question.
Well, like cosmic horror, it's like Lovecraft Country, stuff from the sky,
yes.
stuff that's beyond our comprehension, but it's horror,
Yes. Yeah. Yes, I do. Lovecraft Country. Lovecraft Country. Left a hole in my heart. Love Lovecraft Country. A series, I think it's more science fiction than horror, but I did really like this movie, Annihilation.
Ooh, I've heard a lot of things about Annihilation.
It's very interesting. The twist you see, you do see it coming, but it's not exactly what you were expecting. So I did like that. Basically, a group of scientists, they realize there's a certain area of the earth that people go in and they never come out. So this group of scientists are trying to study what's going on in there. And so they go in and they see that the earth has just changed. Like, the genetic DNA has changed, and they don't know why. So it's them trying to figure that out. So it does fall into the realm of cosmic horror. Like, it is a bit. Someone said, yes, Annihilation. That scene had me shocked. Yeah. 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 You know what we're talking about. I watched it on a plane, and I don't remember where I was going, but I just remember sitting in my seat, like, holding on. Like, oh my God, what just happened? Yeah. Great movie.
That's effective. That means that the movie was effective. Nikki says a certain scene in Annihilation had me running for my life. Wow. Okay, a lot of love for Annihilation tonight. Chat with Yo says Annihilation was great. Lost me a bit at the end, but I still really enjoyed it.
Fair. Yeah. Some of the concepts in it, I'm like, is this possible? Could this happen? Because again, it's very science heavy. Talks about genetics, DNA sequencing, and all of that. Same with Gattaca. Gattaca's great classic sci-fi movie about DNA sequence and like what that does to people and everything. Very cool.
Yeah. Gattaca's definitely up there too. It's definitely up there too. Now, do you have a film that you wish you could have been on the set for? A horror film that you wish you could have been on the set
God.
Especially loving props, so I'm interested to see, what your answer will be.
Oh, that's a hard question. Ooh, damn, does it have to be a movie, or could it be a series?
It could be a series as well.
Okay. Guillermo del Toro's Cabin of Curiosities has a lot of very interesting moments, and there is a whole episode dedicated to autopsies, and
Yes,
that
I really enjoyed that
yeah,
one.
love that. The rat episode,
Oh, yeah, that was terrifying. I
that
don't think
was
I could.
horrifying. Yeah, ugh. And like I'm not like, you know, people have a fear of being buried alive. That's not my fear. Rats are my fear.
Giant rats,
Giant
like
rats.
that's
New York City rats with the Tims, definitely,
uh,
definitely my fear. Yeah, Cabinet of Curiosities definitely would have been. Yeah, there's a lot of nuanced things in there that I like, that I would have loved to be a part of. Black Mirror too, not exactly horror, but the concepts behind Black Mirror. If I could do like stage production or just like help out in some way, I would have loved to do,
yes,
because very, very cool. Very, very cool. In terms of props, I got to think on that. Definitely. Probably because I just watched it recently and I was thinking about the props in it and how they did all the trajectories, and a lot of it's CGI. Final Destination, a lot of it is CGI,
yes,
but a lot of it is like setting up for the CGI. So I would have loved to
okay,
see the behind the scenes, especially the tanning bed scene, because I'm just so curious, like how did they get them in there and film all of that? And you know, there's a lot of nuances that they had to do with it. So just very curious about it.
yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Now, my next question would be, because you have mentioned Black Mirror, so do you have a favorite episode of Black Mirror that stands out to you? Like, is if someone's like, "Yo, I've never seen Black Mirror, which episode should I check out first?" Because you can skip around with Black Mirror, but which episode would you recommend?
I have, I would have different recommendations for different people. So,
Gotcha.
um, Archangel is the episode where the mom censors her kid, and my family's fairly strict. West Indians are strict. They're strict parents. You can't go anywhere. If you want to go somewhere, you gotta like sign a waiver. You gotta tell them 5 to 7 business days. Like, there's no party. There's no sleeping at this person's house. You know, and I really related to that because the mom had censored her daughter through everything, to the point where something went wrong, the daughter didn't know what to do. So that
Hmm.
episode, I'm like, if you are, you know, if you're dealing and struggling with battling with your parents and trying to understand and find your way, that's a good episode for you. The episode with the Boston Dynamics dog, I would send that to anybody who's interested in AI and all that craziness, because this is a problem and y'all need to. I really am not a fan of the Boston Dynamics dog. They creep me out. Their little walking scares me. I recommend that to people. Influencers should watch. I think it's 10 million points, where they're, you know, giving each other the like, and
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. That was the first episode I watched, actually. And I'm like, wow, this is a really interesting series and very close to what we're dealing with. So
Hmm.
that was pretty crazy. And then in the last season that aired, we were talking about this previously, the episode with the film crew. It gave a little bit of like murder mystery, documentary style, mockumentary style, and I kind of liked that flow with it. But then the twist at the end really had me thinking, like trying to look for the clues the whole time. So I think
Yeah.
that one's definitely up there with one of my favorites.
Oh yeah, it's definitely like top tier, top tier. There was one scene, well, one of those episodes where there's a creature in there, but I totally called it before
Mm-hmm.
they put it on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, that's
That's
a
that.
that
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
And then I was so gratified when when it came to fruition on the screen. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, this is dope.
Mm-hmm.
This is dope.
I forgot there's also an episode where it was, I think he's Bill in Harry Potter, and the he died tragically like shortly after he got married, and his wife missed him so much that she like bought him and made him in her tub, and it was like a robot version of
Oh
him.
yeah.
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 And so that episode came out, and then maybe 6 months later there was like some robot in development where it was taking the memories of your loved ones, and you had to like scan a bunch of pictures and different things so that it would learn to be that person. And they were testing it out, and I'm like, y'all didn't watch Black Mirror? Like, you don't, just let people be dead, because they come back and then they're crazy and evil, and it doesn't work out.
It's on a consistent basis, it does not work out.
It does not work out.
Most definitely. We got a Polo says best 2023 movie so far.
Oof, I don't know. Talk to Me is up there.
Yeah, that's my number one. That's
I
don't think anything's not can talk to me off the list.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna rewatch that again. I have so much to rewatch this weekend. I'm gonna rewatch that. Yeah, that had me shook.
Yeah,
the casting was so good.
Casting, the story,
phenomenal.
I didn't know what the hell was coming next.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah,
it's awesome. It was awesome. I was entertained. That's how you do a damn movie. That's how you explore a concept that's been explored many times over, but you put a new fresh take on it. That's how you do it, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, and it felt fresh. It felt really fresh.
Yes. Most
I was
definitely.
like, these concepts, it felt fresh. I think it not being in America too made it a little bit different, a little nuanced. I'm like, I feel the diversity. I feel different sense. I don't feel like weird, boring America feelings. I was like, no, this is definitely a different film.
Yes, most definitely. Most definitely. We got King Nikki said, I would sacrifice my mother to have been on the set of Demons 1985. Yes.
Yeah.
That was awesome. That had to be an awesome set.
I gotta say, the 80s horror movies, they be slapping.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
they be
hard.
They be slapping hard. They be slapping hard.
They're problematic, but
oh yeah,
they slap hard. They slap hard.
Yeah, definitely slap hard.
Polo says Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. If you haven't seen that one was it was a fun watch.
Okay. Fun. That's a good term. Fun watch. All right. Add it to the list. Adding to the list.
Yeah, King Nikki says, I love Blood and Honey. I would have had so much fun on that set. Yeah.
I also thought when we were talking before, I thought about Carrie too.
Yes. Yeah. Carrie.
Yeah. Carrie. Because I'm two things. I think in the original movie they may have used blood. I don't know.
Like real blood?
I gotta check up because I'm not sure. Usually people use for stage blood, they use, corn syrup, a little foundation and red food coloring, or even like chocolate powder and food coloring. So it get that thick material, that really viscous liquid. But I don't know what they did back then. I don't know if it was real blood, if it wasn't real blood. I just would love to see the production behind that. And even, the costuming of like figuring out her dress and figuring out prom king and prom queen, just like set it all of that up. I would have loved to see.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, Carrie, there's so many things, so many scenes that I would have loved to have been on the set for. Even the mom saying they're all going to laugh at you. Like I would have been.
Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. Yeah.
I know it was very traumatic for a lot of people. Very traumatic.
Very traumatic.
We got Michael Anthony. He says Nosedive was my favorite, a cautionary tale for online trolls.
Which one is Nosedive? Is that the one where the kid goes and like someone comes after him because he was trolling online? Is that one?
You know what? It might have been. Like I haven't seen the older seasons in a while.
Wow. Yeah.
And most hated in the nation.
Is that Most hated in the nation? I think that's the one with the Prime Minister of England and the pig.
Oh yeah, that was wild. That was
wild. And that's the first episode of Black Mirror. Crazy. Crazy.
Yeah, they start off wild.
They hook you in. That actor is also in. It's funny because everything he's been in, I don't remember his name, but he's always plays like a tragic character. He was in Penny Dreadful, which is by far one of my favorite series, and he played Victor Frankenstein's monster, and his monologues in it are so great. He really embodies the monster, like struggling with being a monster, trying to adapt to humanity. What does that mean? By far, such a superb actor. I would recommend Penny Dreadful to literally everybody.
Now, Penny Dreadful was a time. It was definitely a fun time. So if you have not
What?
seen Penny
Penny
Dreadful, it's
Dreadful, right?
what's shit, what's her name? Uh
Which
the
character?
the lady, well, the
Billy
main
Piper?
character, the main character.
Oh, Eva Green.
Eva
Eva
Green.
Green.
Ava
Oh,
Green, she
Eva
can do
Green.
no wrong for me. She
Nope.
can do no wrong.
Wrong. She's
She,
so good.
oh
She's a
yes.
very good Vanessa. Oh, she kills it. She kills it.
Oh
Even Ethan, it's not, I don't think it's Ethan Hawke. Is it, that's his name? He's a great werewolf.
yeah, yeah.
Fantastic werewolf. Yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
put their foot in that. They put their foot
Yeah.
in that, you
Oh,
know.
I was so sad when it ended.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
but those networks, they're always jerking our chain. You know, they're
Always.
always jerking our chain.
Always.
You know, Michael says Nosedive was the Black Mirror episode. It was about the
Yes.
people that
Okay.
rated profiles. Yes, yes. But okay. That was with the online
Oh, yes,
tools.
with the trolls being punished. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes, yes. Now I remember. Now I remember. Those are both really really good at. Oh, 10 million points is the one where they're on the bikes and they're trying to not be sex workers and do all the crazy stuff that they have to do.
Yeah.
They're trying to, that's their living. But Nosedive is the one I was thinking about, where you had to upvote people and give them 3 stars or 4 stars. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that shit. I mean, who knows? Who knows? We may be there in the future. Who knows?
Yeah, we're there now. We're there now. I mean, look at social media. Social media is all about
Yeah,
how many
true.
followers you have, how many views you got. Like, what's the difference?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're true. You're right. You're right.
yeah, yeah.
Now, my next question for you would be, we've got so much Black horror out there, especially lately. Like we've got a lot of new Black creatives out there, getting behind the scenes and the writers' room and all that good stuff. So, do you have any favorite Black horror that sticks out to you from the past or the present?
Um, I would love to pick Jordan Peele's brain for sure.
Yes.
Yes, like I said, I want to write a screenplay. I have a very bizarre concept in mind. I want to get pen to paper, and my dream is to write it, and he's gonna say, "Oh my god, this is amazing," and buy it from me.
Yes. Yes. Just
Like,
write it
okay, just write
straight
it
to
from my
straight to
lips to
Phil.
God's ears, right?
Yes.
um, it's just, seeing that he started with comedy, and the line between comedy and horror is very fine. So seeing how he like teeters over that line, I love that, and I love his visualization. I love how he sees to do things, and it's so I really am embracing it, because I felt like years ago there was Black horror and it was a smaller section, but now it's becoming mainstream. It's bigger, and
Yes.
I think he definitely like pushed that envelope and pushed for that. And I'm so glad, because now we've got so many people like diving into more horror, and we've got people who want to be screenwriters, people who want to be prop makers, people who are doing special effects makeup. Like
Yes.
I want Black people everywhere. I'm rooting for everybody Black. I just want
Yes.
to, you know, I can we cuss on here, or is that
Yes.
gonna
Fuck
okay?
shit. Damn.
I was saying, like, I go around and I look around and I'm like, how can I niggify this? Like, I'm gonna use the niggifying beam and like infiltrate Black people here and infiltrate Black people there, and I want us everywhere, because I feel like our stories are interesting and we should be everywhere. There's so much of the Black experience that is horrible and scary and horrific, and then there's so much of the Black experience that's hilarious and
Yes.
needs to be talked about. Like The Blackening for sure is definitely up there. I will be watching it every Juneteenth.
Yes.
I've recommended to so many people, because the first time I watched it, I'm like, this is hilarious. But the second time, I'm like, oh, it's saying your Blackness isn't a monolith. You could just be different. My favorite scene is when Homegirl's out in the woods and she has the Addy and she's like, Hoya! She and I tell myself, I'm like, if there was a killer coming after me, that's what I want to be her.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to be her doing kung fu and knocking him out.
Listen, it was so much good comedy and so much just uh content in that film in general. Like I really love the whole gag where the arrow started going going into people and going out. It's just like it was very like slapstick,
Yeah, and
very slapstick.
even the game was so funny because
Yes,
the Friends thing is like, I don't watch Friends, but I think this person was on it, and I was crying. I'm like, that's the gag, like that's our
exactly.
gag. Even the black on black telepathy, I catch myself doing it. Like my girlfriend and I would look at each other and we're like, did you just see? Oh, you don't even have to say anything. It's just our brains connecting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. It's the black experience.
It's a
The
black
black
experience.
experience. And I dig your idea earlier, the niggified beams. Just
Da 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 da.
we need that. We definitely need that. We need that for the world.
We need that for the
So
world.
yeah. So how does it feel being in the horror community? Now, especially where we see so many different horror content creators from all these different walks of life, and especially people of color, sharing their love for the genre. When growing up, I felt like I was the only one, because we didn't have the internet in the capacity that we
Yeah.
have it right now. So how does it feel to just be able to go somewhere? Like, I've met you twice already at the Halloween Zero's Halloween party, and I'm just like, it's dope to just be amongst a bunch of blurs, and we're
Yes.
all into nerdy shit and all into horror shit. It's like, what's
It's
better than that?
awesome. It's awesome. I feel like I'm not fully in it because I'm not a horror creator, but I
Yeah.
do feel accepted, and I love that. I love that. I don't know a lot of the series or movies, but I still people are still recommending stuff to me, and I never felt
Yes.
like, oh, you don't know that? Well, why don't you know that? It's more of like, oh, you gotta check this out, you gotta watch this, and that I love. Having, like, I would say I've got like one foot in the community, and I'm embracing more of it, and I'm leaning into it sometimes because it's welcoming and it's fun, and there's so much to experience, there's so much to learn. Um i i just i love the concept as a genre because I like the idea of exploring your fears and what that means.
Yes.
Like I said, everyone has their own individual things that freak them out. So, tapping into that. What is it that freaks you out about it? Why does that make you uncomfortable? Was it a traumatic experience as a kid? Is it something that just really you're squeamish? I love seeing that. And it feels great seeing other Black people who love the same things that you do because you could just banter and talk about it and break off ideas, and we're the future. We are the future of Black. Well, I would say more you guys. You guys are the future of Black horror. If I can, do special effects, makeup for Black horror, and make
Yes.
cool props, yeah, I'm on it. I would love to do that. But that's what I see. I see more of the Black experience, more of people talking about Black horror, making Black horror films and TV series. I want Black witches. I want Black people like out here slaying zombies. I want a Black
Yes.
zombie slasher film. I want a Black Frankenstein movie. We haven't had one of those. I want a Black mummy movie. Like there's so many things that I'm waiting
Oh
for,
yeah.
and I'm like, okay, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. So it's I feel like we're on a mountain and we're like at the midway point and we're not at the top yet, but we're getting so close and we're moving really fast. I think, like I said, Jordan Peele kind of opened up this door for us. And
Yeah.
now we're going through it and the floodgates are open. Now everyone's like so excited and really getting their creativity into it. And they're just learning and becoming who they've always wanted to be, but now it's more accepted. So it's a better feeling. I think even pop culture as a whole is more accepted now. I mean, Naruto running in the hallways in school was dumb, but now we have Naruto races in Central Park. Like, aren't times crazy?
Yes.
But I'm so grateful that being a nerd is accepted and that I'm not being bullied for all the weird shit that I'm into. I'm not, people aren't thinking I'm creepy and weird because I live next to a cemetery. Like, I'm just
Yes.
grateful for all of this. Now finding your people who,
Yes.
my friends are like, that's so badass, that's so cool. Whenever I tell people I'm a mortician, like, your average person is freaked out, but nerds and blurs are like, that's sick, that's awesome, I want to hear everything about it.
Yes, yes. I think it's like a guaranteed all access pass. Just saying, oh yeah, by the way, I'm a mortician. Oh, come this way, come this way.
The horror
You
community is like, I love you. They're like, please tell me everything.
like you've literally just automatically become like the most interesting person in the room when you drop that. Like,
Thank
oh,
you.
I'm a mortician, because so people have so many questions because it creeps so many people out. Plus,
Yeah,
it just sparks a lot of curiosity in others. So it's like,
yeah.
it's always a conversation piece because it's always something going on.
It's interesting. I don't usually see it that way. I don't half the time I don't really tell people unless like something comes up and I'm like, "Oh yeah, this one time in the pandemic there were so many people who were dying. I had to get to the crematory at 2 a.m. and I slept there." And then people
No.
are like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah." And then I like have to explain and they're like, "You learned all this stuff in school." I'm like, "Yeah, I have like a crazy amount of anatomy knowledge." Or like the other day I had to go to the doctor. I'm having a leg issue. So I said, edema in the left popliteal fossa. And the doctor's like, "Are you a med student?" I'm like, "No, I'm a mortician." And her face was like, "What?" And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, we have to know a lot of anatomy for our job because you just need to know it." So things like that. I guess yeah, it is really a conversation piece. I've just never it's so normal to me. I've never seen it that way.
See, that's a flex because I see a lot of people on TikTok. They'll have the medical advice. They'll be like, so when you go see your doctor, this is what you say so they don't ignore you. Or this is what you say if you're looking for this to get done or whatever. And I feel like, you're on that same level. Like you're like, okay, I come in here, I'm using the actual terminology. So you get to see their eyebrows raised, like, oh, is she
Yeah.
she
You're like,
is
huh?
she a student or she one of us,
She, one of us, one of us. It's funny. My leg issue started happening right before Thanksgiving. So I was over by my parents and they asked me like, okay, where does it hurt? I'm like, oh, behind the knee. And my dad's like quizzing me. He's like, what is that? I'm like, popliteal fossa. And he asked me something about the femoral artery. I'm like, it's the
Yeah.
biggest artery in the body. And then he's asked me something about the aorta. I'm like, Dad, please. I've been out of school for like 4 years. I don't want to do this. But it's just so funny, like for us to go back and forth and talk about stuff. And, sometimes it's really fun.
Oh yeah, so many stories, so many stories. We got Zero in the building. Tell me I didn't miss the
Yes, you did.
mortician
Yes,
discussion.
you did.
Hey Zero.
Hi, Zero.
Yes, yes. So many creepy stories. So many creepy stories. I know. Before we start the interview, I think a couple weeks ago you told me you had a crypt funeral. You know.
Yeah. This was one of the ones where I was hit on.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I can't say names obviously because
Yeah.
of agreements and everything, but tragic accident, someone caught a bullet. Police were calling us like 3 days ahead. They're like, hey, by the way, we're going to be surrounding the area. We're going to be in the funeral home in plain clothes. So, you don't have to worry because this is a high crime service. So I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. I was 24. My dad was away. And I'm like having war flashbacks because my dad's always away and I'm in charge when things go wrong. and it's funny because this happened, it was around this time in December because my parents
Yeah.
always go around away in December. So this guy was killed tragically. And there was my funeral home could hold, let's say it could hold 500 people. There was at least 700 people there for the funeral. My tattoo artist was there for the funeral. My friend's cousin was there for the funeral. Like everybody in Crown Heights or like Crown Heights, Prospect Park, Lefferts Garden, everyone around there was at this funeral. To the point
Wow.
where my friend opened up Snapchat and he opened up the Snapchat mat and my area was glowing red because there was just so many people. Somebody like took a screen, like was like showing photos on Snapchat, and my friends are like, "Are you working?" I'm like, "Yeah, why?" They're like, "I just saw you on someone's Snap." I'm like, "Okay, this is too much." So, they decided to celebrate his life by throwing a party in the funeral home.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a liquor store at the edge, like the end of the block. They sold out of the Patron, the White Henny, the regular Henny, Don Julio. I'm a tequila girl, so I knew. And it was like the liquor store was sold out. There's another liquor store that's around the corner, sold out. Everywhere sold out. They were dancing in the funeral home. It was like a fete. Like it was a full-blown party. Like it was like the Parkway on Labor Day, like in my
Oh
funeral
damn!
home.
Oh, they was getting it in.
Yeah, yeah. And they're drinking, they're having a good time, they're partying, they drop the bottles on the floor. I was just like picking everything up, trying to clean, like trying to do everything right. I tried telling people you can't drink in the funeral home, it's illegal, and they just paid me no mind. They were like, whatever. And so somebody bought a boombox, people were playing music, like it was actually a party. It was like a cookout. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. I called one of my aunts and I'm like, please help me because I can't clean this whole, and the funeral home was pretty big. I'm like, I can't clean this place by myself. So she came, she got the 8-gallon black garbage bags. I think we filled like 6 of them up. And we were just clearing the bottles. We didn't leave there until 12 o'clock. These people had the time of their lives. Like they were truly, truly having a blast. And I was just like, I mean, I'm happy for y'all, but I'm stressed. I was so stressed. And I was just like, wow, I've never seen anything. And my dad, who's in Florida, laying down, relaxing by the pool, she like goes on the camera to see what's going on. He's like, wow, that's a lot of people. I'm just
shit.
I'm like, yeah, yeah, it is a lot of people. What you're telling me? So that was, I will never forget that night.
Has anybody tried to like spark up in the funeral home? You know, when during the services or after, or during the okay,
no,
okay,
definitely not that. This was, so you can't. The rules are a little different now, but back then you can't have any drink. The only drink you can have in a funeral home is water. In certain designated areas, you can have your lunch and stuff like that. But in the chapel, no, there's no food. Now, the rules have changed. You can have a designated area for light refreshments. So water, like cookies, that stuff. But no like rice and peas and chicken, like not a full meal. But no, they were cutting up. Yeah, they were cutting up in the funeral home. It was a whole fete. And like I said, I will never forget that.
Yeah, that had to be a memory. That had to be a memory, especially, it's like when you mentioned your dad's like, whoa, that's a lot of people. I just envision like house party, back in the day, parents calling the kid and it's like, what's going on down there? It's like,
the thing is, I was texting him the whole time and he was like, oh. And he was so blasé about it. He was like, oh, all right, have a good time. I'm like, no, not a good time. Not a good time. But also in the pandemic, my dad was sick. So the joke about the pandemic was March 1st, I got my funeral director's license in the mail. March 15th, 2020, we went on lockdown. And that's when it started. And March 16th, my dad was sick. He had COVID. So he was out of commission for 3 weeks.
Wow.
So people are, I'm going to sound blasé because this is my industry, but people were dropping left and right. Like there was just so many people who were dying. And I was on call. So I had to go. My uncle would pick me up from my apartment and we would run out and we would pick up as many people as we could, bring them to the funeral home, give the names to our secretary so that they can start doing the paperwork, calling the families, telling them, okay, we have this person. My phone was ringing from 8 a.m. to 2 a.m. like the whole time. Those 3 weeks when my dad was sick, it was just crazy. It was nonstop. That is the closest I think we will get to a zombie apocalypse before the zombie apocalypse happens. And this is, I will say, not spoiler, but this is a little warning. This is a very horrific moment. I went to a hospital and they had their big refrigerated trucks and there's body bags everywhere, but they're not on like shelves. They're not on gurneys. No, they're just in the truck. So I'm like walking carefully, trying to like step over people to find the person I'm looking for. good luck. Somebody was helping me, but that moment like plays in my, when I hear the pandemic, like that's the flashback that goes in my head. Like that's what, the meme of Elmo with like the flames and he's just like disassociating. That's the moment that goes in my head because there was just so many people who died. And I'm like, this is crazy. This is crazy. When we were driving away, I'm like, did that just happen? Oh my God.
Shit.
And funeral directors, yes, we're essential workers, but we weren't the doctors, we weren't the nurses. So there were no medical supplies for us. We couldn't get unionals, we couldn't get masks, we couldn't get anything. We couldn't get shields. My uncle got he was driving around with me, like he would help me pick people up. So he got us a yellow poncho suit that we would spray with bleach every day. And that was our protective gear because everything was for the doctors. It was
Wow.
it was so bad that they called in the army into the Brooklyn Medical Examiner office, and the army was like building shelving to put people because so many people were passing away. Don't forget, New York City was like the epicenter.
Yeah.
There were so many people, and so my dad was getting better, but by week 2, he was getting better. It started out with walking pneumonia. And then we realized, okay, he probably had COVID. So, giving him soup and all this stuff to make sure he feels better. He couldn't go to the hospital because hospitals are full. So he's just at home. So by week 2, he's up and alert and he's starting to do like a lot of the secretary work from home. So I would give him the list of names. I'm like, can you, call these families and call this person, sign into our database, do this, do that. And I gave him a list and it was, I don't know, I put it on an envelope. I gave him a list. And he's like, oh, that's like 10 people. I'm like, no, turn it over. And so the list was like 18 people. So it's like 28 people I picked up in one day. And he's like, oh my God, this is so many people. And I'm like, yeah, Dad, like the world's crumbling outside. It's crazy out there. And he didn't really believe me until he came to the funeral home that Saturday and he opened the door and he's like, oh my God, there really are this many people. It's that crazy. I'm like, yeah, it was insane. Absolutely insane. And I kept telling myself, like every day, I'm like, if I could keep going, I'll be okay. Like it's just another day, it'll be fine. Another day, it'll be fine. Like every day was just, okay, we got to get up, we got to go do what we got to do, spray our poncho, like it's going to be all right. But it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. I had just mentioned this to my therapist on Monday and she's like, you went through a traumatic event. Like, are you okay? And I'm like, oh, I mean, it was work. Like, I don't know. I saw 9/11 too. Like, I'm a millennial. Everything's traumatic to us. So I mean, and I didn't get COVID at all that whole time. I don't know how. I mean, I guess we were just so focused on working and helping families and like trying to do our best for people that, taking care of myself was second. I just wanted to do as much as I could.
Yeah. Well, you're a hero. You guys are heroes because holy crap, that was a lot going on at that time, and especially taking a toll on your mental. Not just the physical labor, but the mental.
Yeah. The physical labor. That's I think the part that has me mental because it was. I mean, people talk about dead weight all the time. Yeah. But I don't think people understand the seriousness of dead weight. Like there's special techniques to like move people so you can lift them. And as I said, I'm short. So I'm a small person. I have to be strong and I have to learn how to, fold their arms a certain way and fold their feet a certain way so I can move them and not hurt myself.
Yeah. That had to be insane. Zero says Chick is a healthcare hero. I remember her telling me about the ungodly amount of pickups. Yeah.
It was insane. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad because I remember they were on the news. They were saying, they were renting out. They started to rent out like hotel rooms to fill up with body bags and stuff like that. Like it was crazy. It was crazy. Mm-hmm. I'm glad it slowed down. Like it's still floating around out there, but I'm glad it slowed down.
Me too.
Now, on a lighter note, the next question, what was a movie that you wish you could see again for the first time, like a horror film you wish you could see again for the first time? Just get that first time watch experience.
Gerard's Way.
Gerard's Way.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the title. It's a Stephen King. Is it his way? It's
Gerald's Game.
Gerald's Game. Sorry,
Yeah,
apologies for the title. Yeah. I don't know why I watched that, but I think I was like, oh, I'm on a Stephen King kick. Let me just like watch all of his stuff. Gerald's Game. How did I forget that? But
that was wild.
That was wild because that's a question I've asked. I've asked that. Like, I think most people who, have sexy time. Yeah. All I'm thinking about in my head is that she was handcuffed, and at night when like the big shadowy figure came through the door and was scaring her, she came back from the she hasn't recovered. Yeah. She hasn't. I'm reading Zero's comments and they're just so funny. But yeah, Gerald's Game. Yeah, God. That I think Gerard Way. I think Gerald's Game, because I've asked that question in my head, like, what if you're handcuffed and you don't have the key? What happens? And then when I'm watching the movie and I'm like, oh, they're older. That's not, that just happened. And I'm like, damn, what's she gonna do? Oh no. And I'm like, the whole time I'm like just sitting there like praying for this woman because I don't know what's gonna happen to her. There were so many moments where I'm like, damn, this movie got me fucked up. This movie's got me really fucked up. Yeah, definitely. I don't know why that one stands out in my head so much. I think that's because it's such a basic concept, but it was more of like a psychological horror. And I think besides sci-fi, I like psychological horrors because I like things that make you think and that kind of freak you out. It's kind of more of a thriller, but The Invisible Man with Elizabeth Moss, I think it came out. Yeah. Is that 2021 that came out?
Yeah, I think 2021.
Yeah. That movie had me definitely at the edge of my seat. Definitely like
they did extra credit. I didn't think they were going to go with the themes that they went with, but I was like, oh, this makes this movie so much better. So much fucked up. Yeah.
When she's like up in the attic and she hears him, oh man, and she like pulls at crazy. Yeah. And what a bizarre concept, like all the very bizarre concept, but I like the horror that makes you think and that kind of freaks you out a bit and makes your mind wander.
Oh yeah, because I swear, like I was watching Gerald's Game or AKA Gerard's Way.
Gerard's Way. Rename the whole movie.
I like Gerard's Way though.
I like that better.
Gerard's Way, but I'm watching it and I'm like, the Moonlight Man. Like when they revealed that motherfucker was real, I was just like, what? He was there the whole time, just in the corner.
No. No. The big shadowy figure, and that's a real person. He was a real guy. He was like 7 feet. Yeah. So when he just, I was like, what is this? What is happening? And weren't there wolves that came and like tried to eat her at some part?
Yeah. There was a dog that somebody left the door open. It was too much. It was too much.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Exactly. Zero. No. There were so many moments in that movie. I'm like, damn, this woman can't catch a break. No, this woman can't catch a break.
Not at all. Not at all. It was one thing to be shackled to the damn bed with your dead husband, laying there, but it was another to just go through her psyche and go through her past and all that shit. I'm like, oh, this is a whole therapy episode. I'm seeing somebody go through it.
Yeah. Oh God. Getting shivers.
Oh yes. Now, do you have a favorite horror villain? Do you have a favorite or someone that stands out to you? that you hold special, near and dear?
It.
It.
Yeah. It.
So do you get into like the origin of
The
the
whole
it
lore behind it?
versus the turtle and all that
Yeah.
shit?
Yeah. I have to rewatch the original because I watched it years ago. I think I watched it when I was doing like my stay up at 2 a.m. to watch scary movies. And I wasn't scared because I don't find clowns particularly scary.
Yeah.
And I think that is why I like it so much, because I know so many people are afraid of clowns. So
Yes.
I've watched it like, what about clowns makes people scared? What is it that you don't like? Is it the makeup? Is it their actions? But the second It Part 2, the 20, I don't know what year that was. Maybe like 2019, whenever it came out, the reboot.
Yeah.
That the Part 2 is my comfort horror movie.
Mm.
Yeah, I think the Paul Bunyan scene is really funny. The naked grandma scene is hilarious. But just like the lore behind it and the whole 27 years and like fighting with the turtle, and the book is crazy graphic.
Yes.
So the book, I mean, the book's always better, but I just like the lore behind it, because I'm like, man, it's clowns versus the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and they're fighting in the sewers, and where's Master Splinter? Like, it's just there's just like so much that I really enjoy, and I enjoy people's reactions to it. It doesn't scare me, but I enjoy people's reactions to it. So knowing that he's such a scary villain to people.
Yeah. He's definitely up there. He's definitely top tier. Definitely top tier. And in the hearts, in both versions. Tim Curry, and Bill Skarsgård. They both did their damn thing.
Yeah.
Both did the damn thing. Now, do you have a favorite final boy or final girl? Someone who made it to the end, who you just were like, yeah, they're super badass, super kick ass to you.
Again, I'm so no more Gerard's Way. I'm so bad with names. I gotta really think. Final girl, final. I mean, I'm trying to think of a final. I gotta choose a final girl, but I don't know if Carrie doesn't really constitute as a final girl, and technically you could argue that she's an antagonist. She is the protagonist, but she's also the driving force and kills hundreds of people.
Hundreds.
But I'm rooting for her. I'm rooting for her.
They deserved it. They had it coming.
Yeah, they deserved it. I think that movie stands out. Right, she's been through mad trauma, as Zero just said in the chat. I think she stands out the most to me because we were talking before the stream, but that plug it up scene is really, really traumatic for women. That is a terrible moment for women. And I think, as somebody who was bullied in school and made fun of, she survives the end. Like, she makes it. So I'm going to argue for Carrie. Did she kill hundreds of people? Yes. Did they deserve it? Also, yes. So, you know what? Ruin it for my girl. And I will say the reboot's okay.
Yes, it was serviceable.
But Sissy Spacek killed it.
Yeah. Some things are just when the cosmos, popped it into fruition, everything came together perfectly.
Yeah.
I feel like Carrie was one of them. Carrie was definitely one of them. Struggle TV says Freddie, Art the Clown, the Collector, the Tall Man, so many to choose from. Yes. Yeah. Because shout out to you showing love to the Collector, because not a lot of people bring up the Collector. Shout out to that love for the Collector. Now, thank you for rocking with me so far. I got 2 more questions to ask you before we wrap this interview up. Now, I like asking this question, because it gets in the head. It gets me, in the head of like who I'm interviewing. But, we're in the era and age of like, the metaverse and all that good stuff. And, there's a place for horror in that as well. So if I were to put on like the meta goggles, and I'm stepping into Vanta's world. Like, what am I seeing? Like, from the sky to the scenery, like, what am I seeing in Vanta's world?
You mean things that scare me or just things that I enjoy?
It could be things that you enjoy or scare you. Just
Okay.
what I would see if I, stepped into your world.
I'm going to do both. Okay, so I'll describe the things that scare me. So I have a unnatural fear of flies.
Flies, interesting.
Flies, yeah. The buzzing sound makes me so uncomfortable. I don't like bugs. I will not kill a bug. I will call someone to kill it for me. I'm not doing it. I could deal with snakes. I could deal with sharks. Stingrays are cool. All that. Yeah, I know. It's very bizarre. Very bizarre. But bugs, no. So if there is like a horror movie where I'm buried alive with bugs, or if I had a metaverse and there was just walls covered with flies,
yes.
that would be my I'm reading Zero's comments in the chat. Now if I in my metaverse, that would be what it would look like. It would probably be kind of like an apothecary with no employment. But it would be an apothecary with like herbs and plants, fungi, because fungi are cool.
Yes, fungi.
Fungi are awesome. Some beakers around. Definitely lots of medicinal things around. I wanted like a witchy, like an earthy witchy vibe. That's what I would want. But beakers and test tubes to bring in modern age science with old age science and bring them together.
Yes, I love that. It's painting the picture. Painting the picture. Science. So I knew science was going to come into play. Somewhere in there. Somewhere in there. I love it. Now, my last question for you would be, if you could spend 24 hours, as your favorite, horror villain, whether it be like a creature, an entity, a spirit, a person, a doll. Like, who would it be for 24 hours?
Or even, he said a doll. When you said doll, Megan came into my mind. Just doing the dance.
Oh yeah. Everybody's got down the Megan moves.
The Megan moves. It could be a creature. It could be like any horror creature.
Oh yeah, it could be any horror creature. Could be entity, whatever it is.
Oh, they're not horror movies though. I was like, to be Celine from Underworld for like 24 hours would be really dope.
I feel like Underworld. We claim Underworld in the horror community.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Vampires, werewolves, hell yeah.
Or even to be Hellboy. Yeah. I think being Hellboy for 24 hours would be really cool.
Oh, you got a lot of action. You
got
a lot of you're gonna need them arms. You're gonna need them arms.
Zero said, "Don't respect me." That is horror. I'm like, listen, I just want to make sure. I want to also horror. Yeah, Hellboy, and either Hellboy or be Celine. Yeah, I think those two movies also. I don't know what time frame. I feel like those were like the early 2000s. And back to one of your questions about what time period of horror. Yeah. I feel like the early 2000s were doing it right because like they were a little campy, but a little scary. But CGI wasn't still in effect, so there was still some practical effects. So there was like a good like melting pot of all of that. So I really liked the mid 2000s as well. And again, Final Destination is like up there with me. So yeah, sorry, but back to your question. Yeah, maybe Hellboy, and maybe I think I want to be a vampire. I know like Twilight's kind of making a comeback, but I just watched a Discovery of Witches on AMC, and have you seen the series?
No, I have not seen the series yet.
It's interesting. It's a book series and it's very romantic. So I was like, I'll give it a shot. But it's a kind of like a battle between demons, witches, and vampires. And I'm watching it. I'm like, I don't know. Vampires are kind of badass in this. Like, I'm a fan. Yeah. So maybe vampires, or maybe be like Vanessa Ives from Penny Dreadful. Yeah,
that's a good choice as well. Good choice as well.
Although she has her trances and stuff like that, she's still pretty badass. She's still pretty badass.
Oh yeah. Well, listen, you cannot go wrong with vampires.
Yeah.
You cannot go wrong with vampires.
Yeah.
They've done so many different iterations, and also witches, like you brought up earlier. Like what are your favorite like I guess what are your favorite types of witches? Like do you just like, the regular a woman that just looks regular, or do you like the boils and
The
the
hat
pimples
and
and
the
the hat and the long nose, and
I like a bit of both. I like
you like
a
the
little.
children that get eaten?
Yeah, yeah. Fuck them kids. No, just kidding.
No, no. This podcast is hashtag fuck them
Fuck them
kids.
kids. But no,
So
I kind of I vibe with
yeah.
the creepy old auntie in the forest who is with her herbs and everything, and these kids just come up in their house. They're probably colonizers, trying to do something. I that's how I envision it. I think it's like a West Indian auntie just in her cabin doing her own thing, trying to make some oxtails, and these kids just come up and why are they here? What are they doing? Why are you being nosy? And so she's like, all right, you're going in the stew. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Going
That's
in
my
this too.
retelling.
They deserved it. The colonizers deserved it.
Yes.
They got what they got.
They got what they got.
But thank you again for joining me tonight. This was so much fun, getting to know you through
Yeah.
the lens of horror and what your interests are. And I just feel like I've gotten into the brain a little bit of Vanta Creates, and
Thank you.
you're always welcome back on the show.
Yeah,
I
of
do
course.
discussions with the horror community, so I would love to have you on and chop it up about our favorite genre, once again.
This
Once
is
again.
super, super awesome. Thank you so much. I can't wait to go through all the recommendations when I rewatch. I'm like, okay, I gotta watch this. I gotta watch this. Okay, good. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Of course, of course. I was super excited. It's even like seeing you at Zero's party. I was like, oh shit. Especially when I found out you were a mortician. I was like, oh, automatically.
Automatic. Got to.
Yeah,
Shout
she's
out to
got to.
Zero for Zero's awesome party that they host every year. It's always amazing.
Yes, yes, yes. Definitely had to check that out. But thank you, Iceman, for stopping by. Not a real horror fan, for stopping by. Struggle TV Reviews, thank you for stopping by.
Thank you,
Michael,
everyone.
everybody, Zero, thank you for stopping by. Caveman, Polo, everybody
Thank you,
showing
everyone.
love. Appreciate it. And that's been another episode of Evil Live. And as always, peace, love, and horror. All of her links in the description.